Hello, I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
And I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times, wrapping up the month of June, aka the Federal Credit Union Act's 90th anniversary month. We're honoring this historic document in the best and most respectful way we know how. With a 5-question trivia round with Natasha. Come on
What?
down.
What?
Da-da-da, da-da.
What?
Are you ready, Natasha? Come on. I'm
Not
giving
really,
you a
but let's
surprise trivia.
as ready as I could be for
Okay,
having
okay.
something sprung on me. Yes.
You're going to love it. You're going to have
Okay.
fun.
All
Okay,
right.
here we go. There's just 5 questions. You
Okay.
think about it. Okay, question 1. What president signed the Federal Credit Union Act into law? And just tell me if you want a hint.
Was it Roosevelt?
Correct.
All right.
Very good. All right, question 2. You can buy a copy of the Federal Credit Union Act on Amazon. How much does it cost?
First, really? You can? That's
Yeah,
funny. I
I
find that
will give you a
funny.
hint in paperback.
In paperback, like a book. Let's see. All right. It's like being on The Price is Right here.
Yep,
How
yep.
about, I don't know, 1999?
I'll give you a hint. Lower.
Okay.
One more guess.
Uh, 6.99.
Okay, correct answer, 13.99
Okay, it
in
wasn't too
paperback
far off.
on Amazon. Okay, question
Alright.
3. According to the Federal Credit Union Act, how many people do you need to start a credit union? I had
Oh,
no idea about this,
okay,
honestly.
I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously, you need a CEO. I mean, you need a board. I don't know, maybe, let's say but it could be very small. Well, yeah,
Uh,
when you think about it, there's some credit unions that are just, like, a
think
couple
small,
people, right?
just
Think
the
small.
bare
How about
bones. How
okay,
many do you need?
2.
7.
Oh, okay.
There you
Well,
go.
that sounds better. I mean, I don't know if I'd trust a credit union, just 2 people running
Exactly.
it because
No.
one could be in hiding the other one's embezzlement or something, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
Right.
20 bucks. Okay, question 4.
Okay.
How many pages long is the most recent version of the Federal Credit Union Act?
Uh,
Remember, it's in paperback.
I don't know, let's say 75.
138.
Okay,
So not bad.
okay,
Okay, final question.
okay.
This made me laugh. When the Federal Credit Union Act was signed on June 26, 1934, what was the high temperature in Washington, D.C. that day?
Okay. What time of year was it?
June
Oh,
26th,
June
so
22nd.
hot.
Okay, yes, yes, okay.
It's this month.
So it would have been hot.
Yep.
87.
Ooh, close. 91.
Oh, okay.
DC was in the
Ooh,
middle of a heat wave, and just 2 days later, it hit 101. So there you go.
okay, alright.
That was your
So heat
quiz.
waves are not anything too new, but I guess it was
No,
always hot there anyway, and humid. Oh, I can't imagine the mosquitoes that day.
but can you imagine no air conditioning, signing that bill, and your
That
sweat's
true,
like,
that as
yeah,
well.
that'd be
Yeah, they're
awful.
probably dripping sweat all over the document. Ugh,
Yeah. You know what I just realized?
what's that?
We have to start the podcast. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we're speaking with Kevin Miller. He's president and CEO of Addition Financial Credit Union in Lake Mary, Florida, just north of Orlando. We're going to be talking with him about name, image, and likeness partnerships, or NIL partnerships. That's where a credit union teams up with a well-known college athlete to promote their brand. The NCAA just started allowing NIL partnerships for credit unions in 2021, and Addition Financial was one of the very first to get into that game. That's a pun. When it signed a deal, the starting quarterback for the University of Central Florida Knights. We're going to hear all about that and how the credit union's NIL partnerships have been going over the past few years, so stay tuned for that. First up, let's take a break from the week. Check in with Natasha. Hey, Ann, congratulations on the trivia.
Oh, thank you so much. I felt good about my first answer. That would've been really embarrassing if I'd gone wrong with the president, but I'm still embarrassed that I said, "What time of year was it?" when you had specifically said the date in the last question.
You know what my hint was going to be?
What?
My hint was going to be Manklin Mosevout.
Ah, gotcha.
That was going to
So,
be my
yeah,
hint.
making it easy. I appreciate that.
I got a question for you.
Alright, what's that?
Were you in, because we were talking about athletes and stuff, were you in any sports in high school or college or anything?
Oh, no, 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 I mean, like, we were talking earlier, we know nothing about it, and no, I was
Yeah.
fully on the I was a dancer, I
Oh,
did
right.
cheerleading, and then I did musical theater. So, no, it
Yeah.
was all that, and, yeah, the closest I got to the sports was, I guess, with the cheerleading team, but I
Mm.
honestly I remember just, standing there during a basketball game and being like, "When is this gonna end?" And just being bored out of my
Right.
freaking mind. So, no, unfortunately, I know I did not play, and I also did
Okay.
not really watch until maybe college football just because everyone else did, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I am not the person to talk to about sports.
Neither am I.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Also wanted to ask, what did you watch this past week?
Well, not too much new. I kinda just followed up on, a lot of the shows I've been following, and I mentioned a few to you the
Mhm.
last podcast. There was one movie I did watch, though, yesterday that just came up on Max, and I had actually forgotten about it. It was one of those that was I think it came out 2019, so there was, like, a
Yeah.
preview for it on TV, and it was
Mhm.
kind of I noticed how, like, back then, we'd be like, "Oh, that's gonna be in the theater. I wanna see that."
Uh-huh.
Now, that doesn't happen so much. I don't know if
Nope.
that's maybe just me because I just don't even go to the theater.
It's not
Sorry
just
to
you. Yeah.
beat around the bush, but the movie was called Greta with Chloe Grace Moretz,
Okay.
and it's kind of a stalker thriller. So the
Okay.
basic plot is this young girl kind of befriends this middle-aged French woman named Greta, and then, like, the woman becomes, like, a stalker. But that's pretty much the whole plot, and that's it. So, it was okay, but, I mean, I had a good time. It's kind of a thrilling it was, like, suspenseful, but really no depth or anything interesting in the plot, no character development
Okay.
whatsoever. So I was kinda like, that was dumb.
I do like her, and I wish she could be in better things, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Did you see her in Carrie? That was kind of her first ever
No,
breakout.
I didn't, and I probably should. I watched the original one, years ago with Sissy Spacek.
Of course, yeah, I did as well. That's classic.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So, what did you watch? Any more gory horror
Yes.
stuff to add to your
Yes.
list?
Yep, I will say I had never seen this, and I
Mhm.
do wanna watch the Japanese version of it, but this was the American version of The Grudge that came out in
Hmm.
2004. Do you remember that one? With
No, but
Sarah
it
Michelle
sounds
Gellar?
Oh, okay.
I think it's legit the only movie I can watch her in that didn't irritate me.
Sure,
It
sure.
was really fun. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
same people who did The Ring, if you saw that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was terrifying. I was terrified when I saw
Yeah, it's a very similar story. I enjoyed it. Gave it 4.5 stars on
Okay.
Letterboxd. The Grudge, 2004. It was fun.
That sounds great, and it's interesting you mentioned the Japanese version because wasn't there
Mhm.
also a Japanese version of The Ring, like an
Yes,
original one that was even more
yes.
horrifying?
Yeah, it's called Ringu, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I would love to see that. That sounds like a really fun if you really wanna be scared.
They're
Good
out
time.
there, and they might be on Amazon, actually.
Okay, alright, yeah.
All right,
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot of fun,
it
but
was good.
yeah, as you said earlier, we gotta get to the podcast, we gotta get to
We
our
got to.
interview with Kevin Miller. No, I thought this was a really interesting interview that we had because it was focused on the name, image, and likeness partnerships with college athletes, which is something that a lot of credit unions have been doing in their marketing realm. It's been a move that a lot of them are making lately, but we haven't really had
Yeah,
the chance to dive into it and find out how does this work behind the scenes, and then what does the credit union get out of it? What's the return on investment here? So it
yeah.
was really neat to finally talk with someone about that. He was one of the
He was
first.
great.
Yeah, yeah. So he really enjoys this topic of this really successful partnership his credit union had with a particular athlete, with Renaya Jones, with
Uh-huh.
UCF track and field. Sounds like that went very well.
Yeah,
And then he talks about the importance of reputation management when entering these types of partnerships.
mhm.
So I thought that was really fascinating. And, like we do with our other guests, we like to talk about some fun topics. And on that portion, although he is based in Florida now, he ends up taking us on a surprise trip up to Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
which you said is gorgeous now.
it's really turned into a wonderful city, it has.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So we have all of that coming up next.
Hey, listeners, we're a bunch of credit union nerds here at Credit Union Times. And if you're one of those, or if you want to be smarter about what's happening in the industry, check out our executive briefing for subscribers only, delivered right to your inbox because it's not published online. Our executive briefing, or EB as we call it, dissects one issue each month into a comprehensive package with graphics, editorial context, interviews, and more, all in one email for subscribers only. Want to subscribe? Go right over to cutimes.com/subscribe. That's cutimes.com/subscribe for the executive briefing.
Joining us in the virtual studio today is Kevin Miller, President CEO for Addition Financial Credit Union. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so happy to have you. So let's get right into it here. Back in August 2021, that was just a month after the NCAA began allowing student athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. Your credit union announced its partnership with Dylan Gabriel, the starting quarterback for the University of Central Florida Knights. So, first, can you back up and just tell us a little bit about your credit union's relationship with the University of Central Florida itself? And then, second, why did you decide to take advantage of the new NIL opportunity so soon after it became an option?
So, Addition Financial is an education based credit union. We've got a long history in education, but over time merged in the University of Central Florida Credit Union. When we did that, we reached out to UCF and talked about ways that we can partner at a higher level than they were able to before. And although we partnered across the entire university, one of the areas they directed us was to partner specifically with the athletics department. So as of now, the arena where they play basketball is the Addition Financial Arena.
Mhm.
With that, we always look for opportunities to get our name across, whether it's partnering with them to get our name throughout the community or on campus or in any other way. And when NIL became available, we thought that would be an interesting opportunity to partner with the assets of the university, as well as jump in and see if it worked. And we had some pretty good success by being an early adopter of NIL opportunities.
So, just a few months after the initial announcement in January 2022, Addition announced another NIL partnership with the UCF track and field athlete Renaya Jones. Are your partnerships with Dylan and Renaya still ongoing?
No, they were both for specific periods of time. I will say we're excited and we still communicate with Renaya because she's on her way, hopefully, to make the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But they were both for set periods of time and they've both expired as of now.
Okay. So, has Addition had any other college NIL partnerships or are any in the works?
So we've had some conversations. We're looking for the right partner. And if we find the right partner, one that makes sense for both us and them, we would definitely do another. The partnership, particularly with Renaya, was very successful. And if we could get something similar to that, we would do that again.
Nice.
Okay, so looking back just on the two that you've had already with Dylan and Renaya, what were the details of how they were actually promoting the credit union? Like, what were some of the member facing marketing elements of these partnerships? What did the members see from these individuals as spokespeople?
Yeah, so Renaya, we had on billboards, we had in TV commercials. She attended community events with us. We had her on a variety of different podcasts, both internal and external.
Hmm.
She really got involved with every aspect of our marketing. Dylan was an earlier stage one, so we had a few pictures of him in some commercials, and he did a couple of public appearances for us. But
Hmm.
by the time we got to Renaya, it was a much deeper conversation. And it wasn't always about pushing, just an ad for the credit union. Sometimes she spoke to groups on our behalf. She just is an interesting person and had a lot to say. And we wanted to roll her out as just a good member of the community who people were interested to listen to.
Yeah.
So, you're a couple of years out from the first two NIL partnerships here. I've had conversation with other credit union executives, and they're curious about this question. How would you assess their success in the two experiences you've had so far?
I'll talk a little bit more about Renaya because I think by the second
Okay.
one, we knew what we were doing a little bit more. Dylan was
Of
great,
course.
but it was still new and we were experimenting with things. With Renaya, we got a lot of publicity in the local community, not just the things we were pushing, but other people talking about the relationship. She had a good following on social media, still does. She's got a very engaging personality. Anybody that meets with her, really becomes engaged with her. She's about as nice a person as you'll ever get. And we got a lift in some of the metrics that we follow around public relations.
Okay.
And then we also got a lot of word of mouth positive publicity from people in the community. And then we were able to track a little bit of account growth directly to her, but that was kind of more secondary. It was more the metrics that we track around, name recognition and people hearing a little bit more about Addition Financial because of her.
So, beyond the metrics a little bit, this is kind of a squishy question for you, Kevin, but what did the credit union get out of this, do you think?
Yeah, it helps cement our relationship with UCF, although they had to
Fair.
be hands off a little bit because it's the weird way that NIL works. They had to stay out of it, but they were happy to see us supporting one of their premier athletes or two of their premier athletes, a quarterback and a track star. But it also helped us in the community where people looked and saw we weren't just picking anybody, we were picking people that had good reputations and that were nice people and that really could carry our brand well.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, and Kevin, so it sounds like the metrics that you were able to measure after these partnerships were kind of limited to more public relations and exposure. But I was curious if there are any other results you could share with us. Like, was there any membership growth at all? Has the credit union become more appealing to like younger members in the college community? Has it been tied to like adopting any new products? Like, is there anything else you can share about how it's benefited the business of the credit union?
Yeah, so from a membership growth standpoint, we were able to tie a little bit. We had some incentives for them based around direct account openings that they could steer our way.
Hmm.
And so we were able to show a little bit of growth through that. We were also able to show, particularly amongst younger members, that the commercials were seen a bit more, that the ads were seen a bit more. It's always a focus of us, as well as most credit unions, of how we stay younger, how we stay more relevant. We have a bit of a younger average age than most credit unions. It's definitely a focus of ours to continue to push that way, where we're opening a lot of youth, high school, and college accounts. And this
Okay.
kind of leaned directly into that strategy where that demographic was familiar with our NIL partnership with Dylan and with Renaya more so than potentially the older demographic.
Sure.
What do you think Dylan and Renaya got out of this relationship with the credit union? Again, as a non-athlete myself, I'm kidding. I'm not an athlete at all. But I would think, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. But what do you think they got out of this? I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, for both of them, it was, I believe, their first true partnership.
Yeah.
Dylan has since built out an entire brand, but this was a good launching for him of being in front of a camera, not just while you're playing, but for pictures and for photos and doing some photo ops. And I mean, Dylan even came to our all employee meeting and did pictures and talked to some of our staff on one-on-ones. Renaya got a lot of media work. She got a chance to really attend a lot of events that she may not have otherwise attended. She had
Hmm.
a lot of conversations with us about financial literacy. She talked a lot about the challenges of being a student and some of the difficulties, whether it's her or just students she knew on campus, in budgeting and getting some of this attention, and how you learn to do things as a student, balancing being an athlete, balancing being someone that's trying to earn some money. So they got some exposure to that next level where Dylan has a good shot of continuing to play football at a higher level. Renaya has a good shot of potentially making an Olympic team. As they grow, I think we were a good first step for them. And then, of course, obviously, it was a nice income source for both of them as they're trying to balance school, being an athlete, and earning some money.
All right.
And how do you go about choosing which particular athlete will be, your partner in an NIL relationship? Looking back to Dylan and Renaya, I know you mentioned, hey, let's start with the starting quarterback. It's a good place to start. They're both obviously very prominent. But what did that process look like? Did you go to the university and say, we'd like to work with this person specifically, or did they offer it?
The NIL rules keep changing, but the university had to stay a little bit out of it. So we just worked our way around campus. So with Dylan, as you said, it was very straightforward. Let's start with the starting quarterback. We know him enough to know he's got a reputation as a very nice kid, someone that's trying to do the right thing. So we felt pretty comfortable. We knew the second relationship was going to be a lot deeper from some of the lessons we learned with Dylan about we
Hmm.
really wanted them to be engaged. So we wanted to make sure we got somebody that we could trust with our brand. So although the university didn't help us, we were able to talk to them and say, if we picked Renaya or if we partnered with Renaya, do you think that that's a good decision? And they came back and told us, you will never have an issue with her. She's about as nice and genuine and honest a person as you'll ever meet. So we felt very comfortable that we could build something a lot deeper there. We also felt comfortable that she was the person we were looking for because she
Yeah.
is very engaging, very personable. She's very comfortable on camera. And she's got a pretty good social media following. So she's got a little bit of savviness on that side. And a big push of this beyond
Yeah.
being in our commercials and doing things is her pushing the brand to in her own social media setting. And she's very comfortable with that as well.
Side question, Kevin, if you know this or not, do you know what she's trying to qualify for the Olympics?
She's running in a couple of different events. Her star event or top event is one of the hurdles. I
Okay.
don't remember exactly the distance, but there's a couple of, I'd call them, I guess, medium length distance running events that she's
Hmm.
attempting to qualify for. And
Okay.
I heard at the NCAA championships, I know she was a top 3 finisher, and
Wow.
we're cheering her on here quite heavily.
Yeah, everybody look
Nice.
her up. I'm going to look her up when we're done recording. See if I can, because I want to pay attention to this. This is great.
Yeah, and definitely if you
Mhm.
look up the commercial she did with us,
Yeah.
they're out on YouTube. You'll see just how engaging a person she is. She really is a nice lady.
Again, I will look this up as soon as we're done today, but I do want to ask an operational question. How does a credit union, how did Addition budget? How do you budget for a new NIL partnership?
So for us, we have a marketing department and a community engagement department,
Okay.
and it was a mix between the two.
Oh, okay.
Marketing was responsible a bit more for the commercials and the advertising that we did with her. Community engagement out of their budget paid the direct partnership with NIL. They all roll up to the same thing, but it came a little bit out of each of their budgets.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that because that's another question people are curious. Is it marketing? Is it community? But for you, it's a bit of a hybrid. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
It's one of those things that different athletes are going to cost different amounts. I know there's a lot of people that are just supporters of universities that throw in huge sums of money to these athletes in order to just support the university. That wasn't our cause. Our cause was it had to be financially make sense to both us and the athlete. So the deals that we're spending are not at the same level as those deals that you hear about for the top superstar athletes to get them to go to a university. This is about getting them to be a partner of ours and work with us on promoting our brand.
Okay.
Right. All right. And so, Kevin, next question we had is like, what are the risks associated with an NIL partnership? And just to back up here a bit, when we were creating this question, we're just thinking about how, we sort of live in this cancel culture today where there's a celebrity that's maybe a spokesperson for a brand, and then they're caught doing something unsavory, something controversial comes out on social media, who knows? And then a lot of times the brand will part ways with that celebrity. Obviously, everything went well for you with your first two NIL partnerships, but is this something that's like discussed at all ahead of time or even put in the contract? Like if they were to do something that didn't represent the credit union well, that was one risk we thought of. And then are there any other types of risks that the credit union considers before entering into this?
Oh, yeah, these are major concerns before you enter into an NIL
Right.
partnership. We definitely had those covered in the contract, but that's dealing with something after it occurs. We spent a lot of time on the front end. We know who these kids are that we're partnering with, but we also understand the risk that they are ultimately 18 to 25-year-old kids that are in college having a good time. And, it's something we've got to be careful of because we're attaching our corporate brand directly to them. It's one of the reasons that it was important for us to have a discussion with the athletics department about them before we partnered. Obviously, athletics would love us to support all of their athletes, and they're going to talk about, how wonderful their student athletes are. But we've got a deep enough relationship that we can be a little bit frank and say, is there any concerns here? Do you think that we would have a problem? And I got an unequivocal, you will never have a problem with
Hmm.
these
Yeah.
student athletes. And we felt very comfortable with how directly they said that. Particularly with the concerns you mentioned, we're very concerned about the reputation of our brand and of the credit union. So we did have some discussions with the student athletes about that as well, that things they do reflect on them, they reflect on us, but they also reflect on their future marketability and their future brand. As I said, Dylan was trying to build out his own brand, and he's doing a nice job of doing that, trying to find ways that he can control something he monetizes. Renaya wants to turn pro in the track and field arena. So they both understand the idea. They've got to stay marketable and they've got to represent well. And that's where it's a bit of a win-win is if they understand
Hmm.
that, we understand that going in, then this is a launching pad to potentially much larger deals for them.
Right.
So we had a lot of discussions about that, but we also did our due diligence ahead of time, which is just absolutely critical.
Since we're around Father's Day and stuff, parents should have those kind of contracts for their children. You know, like, oh, geez.
As someone with two young daughters, I would love to, but my girls know enough not to sign anything I give them.
Okay, yeah, well, good for them. Okay. Now, down in Florida, where you are located, the state is now allowing deals for high school student athletes similar to this. Has this changed Addition's NIL partnership strategy at all?
Not for us because of some of the risks that you mentioned. I'd be a bit hesitant to go to,
Mm.
younger athletes. Although we partner even heavier with the school districts, or at least just as heavy as we do with the university, we've been in Orange County Public Schools for pretty much the 87 or so years we've been around.
Yeah.
I don't think we would do an NIL deal directly with the student athletes. We do some deals where we support athletics generally. We partnered with a football team at a school where we bought them a fridge because there were a lot of underserved kids, and we filled it with food for them and things along those lines. Or we've put up some ads at some sporting events inside a basketball arena or things like that. But I think we'd stay away from the high school student athletes and focus instead on finding the right college athlete that made sense. I will say, after when we finished the two partnerships we had and we didn't immediately find the right fit for a third one, what we did instead is we actually partnered with one of UCF's coaches, a coach that we've known for a long time. And obviously, she's a fantastic person, someone we know well. It's not an NIL deal, but it's similar. And she was in our latest commercial. And that was a way to go that was similar, but one that we felt comfortable with.
Hey, do you want to call out the coach?
Yeah, Tiffany, she's the coach of the UCF women's soccer team. She's also a gold medalist. And when the most recent women's World Cup team wanted to practice, they came and practiced at UCF because of their relationship with her. And she's fantastic. Actually, one of the first times we partnered with UCF, they immediately, someone that I know well over there said, you should get to know Tiffany. She's an amazing person. And she has been, and she did a really nice job in our commercials as well.
Great. Everybody, Tiffany, look her up.
Yeah.
No, just to follow up on that, I wonder, and Michael, I don't know if you know this as well, but I don't know if any credit unions have partnered with any high school student athletes, because I know that that's now being allowed, not just Florida, but some other states as well. I'd be curious to find out, because I think, Kevin, you make a good point. Maybe that's just too young, a little bit riskier of, you don't know how they're going to behave.
Yeah, I imagine there's somebody at some point who will do it because you get an opportunity for some publicity by doing it. But as I said, I think we'd be a little bit hesitant, even as it is. We spend a lot of time on the due diligence of the college students, and a high school student, I'd be a little bit more hesitant on.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you're making some great connections at the college so far. So, okay. So we have one more question here before we're going to move on to our part 2 of the podcast interview. But this is a topic that we have been hearing about a lot more from other credit unions as well, that have been getting into NIL partnerships where they're making it about financial education as well, really making that part of the whole program. And so the ones we've been hearing about recently, it sounds like most of them have a financial education component. So I'm just wondering from you, to what extent for Addition Financial is this also about educating not just the athlete about money management, but then also members and the community? I'm kind of wondering, is part of it educating the athlete themselves, because they have probably going to go on and make it big and have a pretty high income if they succeed in their career. So yeah, just kind of wondering if you could talk a little bit about the link between financial education and these partnerships.
Yeah, it's a critical component. We've had some great discussions with both Dylan and Renaya about the challenges in front of them. You never know what's going to happen in your future. Our star quarterback before Dylan Gabriel was on an amazing track. He did fantastic at UCF, and then he got injured and his career took a right turn. And it's understanding that things can change, and just because you're getting a partnership or making money one way doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. So it's trying to not spend it all at once, trying to budget, but also them educating us about what their challenges are. Because for each of the athletes we've partnered with, it's been a little bit different. And we have the advantage. We've been doing financial literacy across the university, but particularly with athletics for years. And budgeting always seems to be one of the top things that they want to know about, how to, make their money go a little bit farther, how to make good long-term decisions. And also just getting people aware of the fact that the money that you make now may or may not stay with you. And it's been interesting conversations, but they've also brought interesting topics to light with us that we've enjoyed going back and forth with them on and then incorporating into some of our financial literacy presentations.
All right. So, Kevin, we're going to move on to the final segment of the podcast, which are questions all about you, Kevin. Okay.
Looking forward to it.
All right. We've been talking about high school, college athletes. Okay, fine. But, Kevin, what is your favorite professional sports team?
So I'm originally from Detroit. Okay. So any of the Detroit sports teams, whether it's the Red Wings, which is the hockey team for people that
Sure,
don't
sure.
know,
Yeah.
or the Lions or the Tigers, the Pistons. But any of the Detroit teams, if I had to pick one, it's probably the Red Wings. I grew up
Oh,
a
okay.
big Red Wing fan and watching the Detroit Red Wings quite a bit.
Follow-up question to that. Did you ever then throw live octopus onto the ice?
I have not personally done it, but I have
Okay.
definitely seen it done. And the amazing thing is when they banned it, watching the
Yeah.
people smuggle in a 10 or 20 pound octopus in their
Yeah.
sweatshirt to then throw them onto the ice is just fantastic.
People, if you haven't seen this, there have to be videos out there. Look it up. It's crazy.
Oh, and the guy that picks him up off the ice, who picks him and
Oh,
swings him over his head, it's
yeah.
very
What did he
entertaining.
do wrong in life? Yeah.
He
Whoops.
enjoys it. So,
Oh, okay.
Well, Kevin, I could sense a little bit of a Midwest accent in there as we were chatting, so Detroit makes sense. I was gonna ask.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so next question, this also kind of goes along with the whole theme of college sports. Where did you attend college for your undergrad?
So, my undergrad was at the University of Pittsburgh, and grad school was at Emory Law School in Atlanta.
Okay. So over in Pittsburgh, what would you say was your favorite either class or club you were in or extracurricular program? Like, what do you memorialize the most as kind of your favorite experience there?
I had some fantastic classes and we did some fun intramural sports, but big thing for me was I made the debate team when I was at Pitt.
Oh,
And
nice.
other than the fact that it was a great experience, it also gave me a nice scholarship and got a chance to garner some skills that I definitely used later in life. So I enjoyed that quite a bit.
For sure.
In Pitt, I was in Pittsburgh not terribly long ago, but went to the Andy Warhol Museum. Do you ever go back to Pittsburgh?
I have. It's been a while, but I've gone back a couple of times. It's amazing how much the university has changed
Yeah.
and the city has changed.
The city is gorgeous now,
Yeah, it
honestly.
is beautiful, especially if you go in the summer. They
Yeah.
really know how to turn people out for summer events.
Did you know Pittsburgh, I believe this is true, has the steepest street in America?
I
I
actually
have to
did
look
not
this
know
up.
that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I believe that is true. And you'd think it would be San Francisco, but it's not.
You would think it would be, yeah, Lombard and San Francisco, I thought was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's some bike races that they do up some of the hills there where you see some professional athletes
Yeah.
who have a hard time once if you do those laps enough going up those mountains.
Ugh. Your
Wow.
thighs are giant.
Oh, forget
Yeah.
it.
Okay, back down to Florida, living in the Orlando area out there. What is your favorite non Disney thing to do to take people to if they come and visit?
So definitely going to Winter Park is a nice
Okay.
thing to take people to. It's a very walkable part of town. It's a nice area. You can take people. It's a little bit of a cheesy ride, but if you take them on the Winter Park boat tour,
Okay.
you can take people of any age, and it gives you a nice feeling for all the little lakes around Central Florida. Some nice views of some beautiful homes around there, and Winter Park has a nice farmers market. There's a bunch of areas to go to around Central Florida, but that's always a nice place to start.
Yeah, good call.
Sure. Okay, and Kevin, next question. We love asking all of our guests this one. What was the first album you ever bought?
That's a tough one. I would say it was probably Joan Jett when I was in elementary
Oh,
school. Was a big fan of hers. And I remember
Sure.
that being something prime that I still like to this day, listening to her.
Like I Love Rock and Roll, that's what hooked you in, like that?
Yeah, I love rock and roll was the first song that I remember
Yeah.
truly loving as a kid, and so I remember buying that, and I think I'm still hooked
That's
to this day.
great. She and Blondie back at that time were huge.
Blondie's another fantastic one. My older daughter likes music quite a bit. She's drifted kind of to the next stage of those, going to the next pop punk things of Fall Out
Yeah.
Boy and things like that. But
Sure.
I always tell her the roots are back in those 80s songs.
Yeah.
So.
Very nice. Okay, last question for you. Kevin, what was the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched was the documentary on Jim Henson. I think I just saw that this past weekend.
oh,
Oh. And what'd you think?
I found it interesting. It may or may not be for everybody, but Jim
Yeah.
Henson played a big part of my childhood. I loved the
yeah.
Muppets.
Yeah.
My kids, even as they're getting older, they still love the Muppets. And it was fascinating to see some behind the scenes stuff with Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. What platform is it on? Because I'd be curious to watch it as well.
I believe it's on Disney Plus.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Gosh, the one thing I remember, and this is kind of a downer, I apologize, but I just remember hearing about when he passed. I
Yeah.
just remember hearing this story. I believe it was like one of my parents told me, like, oh gosh, I guess he just like didn't go to the doctor. There was something wrong, but he just put off going to the doctor and passed away. And I remember putting in my mind, like, okay, always go to the doctor, always go to the doctor if there's anything wrong.
All
That
right.
was like just one
Well,
memory I have of,
Jim Henson taught you one thing.
I will tell you, it was fascinating because they do talk about him passing away in there and his memorial service, seeing everybody with some Muppets and seeing people singing
oh,
at his funeral was fascinating. A little aside, I don't know if this was in the documentary or not, but I do know that like Harry Belafonte sang one of Jim
Mm-hmm.
Henson's favorite songs from when he was on the Muppets as memorial. So it was an interesting
yeah.
documentary. Ron Howard did a nice job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a big part of my childhood as well, was the Muppets, especially A Muppet Family Christmas was a favorite, and Muppets Take Manhattan. Those were like two of my
Yeah, and I
Right.
got to tell you, the newer Muppet movies are pretty entertaining as well. My
yeah,
kids love the one with Tina Fey. So
right,
I'm not gonna
absolutely.
watch that.
Anyway, okay. Well, another one to add to the list. Okay, well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun and great getting to know you, and best of luck to Edition and its future NIL partnerships.
I appreciate it very much. It definitely was entertaining talking to you guys, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, Kevin. We've never talked about the Muppets that much before, ever. So
Yeah,
thanks.
I know. That was fun. Fun surprise. All right. And for our listeners, please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. You know how this works. And if you'd like to rate us, we would love your feedback. And for those of you with any questions or comments, feel free to email me over at nchillingarian@cutimes.com, or you can always email Michael at mogden@cutimes.com.
Also, this month, exclusively in our executive briefing for subscribers only, we broke down historical mortgage market data and what good and bad signs it shows for credit unions. You can subscribe to our executive briefing at cutimes.com/subscribe, a new topic each month. In July, we're going to be investigating how credit unions are spending community dollars. Check that out at cutimes.com/subscribe. Thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next week for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.